Good morning, First Block. And Johnny and Brittany, you better not be laughing at me because you know I don't like to be on the camera. All right, hope you had a great weekend. Hope the Pirates won because tonight they're playing in Pierce County, so I'm hoping Monday morning you're getting to celebrate from that. Let's review where we left off on Friday. We've been talking about absolute advantage, comparative advantage, and the fact that we're trading among countries. All right, and so we began looking at, on Friday, the two groups of people, protectionists and free traders. All right, protectionists, remember, are those people that want to protect our borders by limiting the amount of trade that we give. That way, their idea is we're protecting the businesses that are here in America by not making them compete with other factories in Vietnam or in Pakistan where those people are working for 50 cents an hour versus our people that are working for $7.25 an hour. So by limiting that trade, they feel like they're protecting our country and letting our businesses made in the USA flourish. Then we've got our free traders. The free traders are like, whoa, I hear what you're saying, but we are going to have a bigger variety if we continue to trade with other nations, and it provides more competition, and when there's more competition, we know that the prices generally tend to come down a little bit because you're competing, trying to get people to buy your product instead of buying someone else's. So, two different groups. Now, if you look at this, we left off Friday, I believe this is the last slide that we got to, the barriers, the pros and cons of having this going on in our nation. If we have barriers, the pros of that, it makes domestic industries happy. All right, now tell me as a class, what are domestic industries? What do they mean by that? Okay, I hope you answered. It means at home. Domestic means within our nation. So it would make businesses within the United States very happy if we have barriers to keep others out. It protects domestic jobs. What does that mean? If domestic means home, whose jobs is that protecting? You're right, that's protecting American people's jobs so that more Americans can have jobs. Because all of these factories like Hollister and American Eagle that have these factories in Pakistan and have these factories in Vietnam and all these places, that's giving their people jobs. Our people don't have them. So if we have barriers, then that means American people get jobs. Lastly, some people say this protects national security because if we don't have as many goods coming into our country, it would make it more difficult for terrorists to be able to slide their stuff in, and so it can help our national security as well. Now, thinking back to the slide before this, who would this be? Would this be the protectionists favoring it, or would this be the free traders? Hopefully you said it would be the protectionists because they're the ones trying to protect America, protect American jobs, and protect American industries. Now, the cons of it, when you look at the cons, of course, this would be what group would be sponsoring. They don't want barriers. They don't like it. Yes, it should be your free traders. They're the ones that don't like all of this going on. So, according to the free traders, if you put barriers, it's going to increase prices for consumers. Now, stop and think about that. How could not having t-shirt factories in Vietnam and in other areas of the world like China or Mexico, having them all in the United States, how would that raise prices for consumers? See, if you think about that for a minute, oh, we don't have as much competition, so could it be that then American companies might drive their prices up because they're no longer having to compete with those? It is something to think about. All right, can actually harm our nation's economy over time. If we know the rule of demand, as price goes up, demand goes down. If prices do go up, consumers will walk away. And if consumers aren't spending, can't that hurt us? Yes. All right. And then lastly, the increased competition fosters innovation and efficiency. Free traders believe as long as there's competition going on and we're worried about what the Japanese might be developing in electronics, then it makes our American companies want to be more innovative and more creative because they're worried about the competition that Japan may give them. And so that's how we're coming out with the things like the iPhone 4S and the iPod Touch and all those things that are actually here in America. So those are good things to look at. And free traders say, well, if we close down the borders, Americans might get lazy and say, well, you know what, you can use cell phones we invented 20 years ago because we don't have any competition and you can just use what we've got. We're not going to make any more. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's the pros and cons. Now, in looking at this, there are something called trading blocks. Now, let me say this to you. I don't understand. Yes, sir.